Good afternoon. I think the honor is all mine. It is an honor to address this distinguished audience at the International Cooperation Summit on behalf of the Trump administration, marking the milestone 15th year of Israel Cyber Week. I would like to first begin by expressing my gratitude to our hosts, the government of Israel, for their leadership in convening this critical dialogue. The importance of this gathering cannot be overstated, as we stand at a pivotal moment in the evolution of cyberspace and the threats that confront us all. Cyberspace stands as a domain of boundless potential in an increasingly contested area. While cyberspace enables connectivity and enhances prosperity, malicious state-sponsored groups, cyber criminals, and other non-state entities exploit it and accelerate a prolonged conflict that is only intensifying. These activities threaten our shared security and destabilize the global digital economy. As cyber threats rapidly evolve worldwide, the United States is adapting to the shifting threat landscape through strong, decisive responses that leverage all tools of national power to disrupt and degrade malicious cyber actors. To support these efforts, Secretary of State Rubio created the Bureau of Emerging Threats, or ET for short. ET leads the Department of State in anticipating and responding nascent and evolving threats at the nexus of technology and national security, including in domains like cyberspace, AI, undersea, and outer space. Within ET, my team actively works to counter malicious cyber threats to the United States, our allies, and partners, using our diplomatic toolkit in close collaboration with the interagency, industry, and international partners, including many of those who are here today. The United States remains steadfast in its commitment to working with our allies and partners to promote a secure, open, and stable cyberspace that fosters innovation, connectivity, and security for all. We cannot accomplish this goal alone, though, since cyberspace lacks physical borders, allowing threats to cross national boundaries instantaneously. With that in mind, the question before us is urgent. How can we enhance our collaboration to safeguard international cyberspace security? As we open this summit, I urge us to consider how states can collaborate to proactively address cyber threats, in particular through 4 priority efforts. First, imposing costs on adversaries to shape their behavior. Second, streamlining cyber regulations. Third, securing our government and critical infrastructure networks. And last but not least, sustaining our innovation and dominance in the field of critical and emerging technologies. The United States seeks to pursue these efforts with your support to secure cyberspace and unleash its full potential for our societies and our mutual benefit. To provide more detail, allow me to say a few words about each of these efforts. First, as noted, we must shape adversary behavior by imposing costs on malicious cyber actors. Cyber adversaries persistently target U.S., allies, and partners' infrastructure networks. Accordingly, we too must persistently engage in this space. These actors steal intellectual property and spy on us, accrue undeserved financial gain, and position themselves for advantage in cyberspace in future kinetic conflicts. Self-imposed restraint and inadequate responses have only signaled weakness and invited destructive effects on our critical infrastructure, economies, and the safety and privacy of our citizens. The United States will work to detect, confront, expose, and dismantle these cyber threats. In doing so, we will impose costs on our adversaries, erode their capacity and capability, and increase the risks they face in targeting U.S., allies, and partner networks. These efforts will include not only responding to attacks, but also proactively seeking to degrade attackers' capabilities through diplomatic, economic, and technical actions, which we believe will work best if taken in coordination with global allies and partners. To bolster these efforts, the United States urges states to recognize the importance of attribution and accountability. States must invest in technical capabilities to identify the source of malicious activities and enhance their national cooperation to improve attribution and hold perpetrators accountable. Additionally, the United States has prioritized establishing clear consequences for malicious behavior in cyberspace. States must establish and communicate the penalties for cyber attacks, whether through diplomatic measures, economic sanctions, or public attribution and technical guidance. By collaborating on such actions, we can magnify the impact of each other's efforts and collectively raise the stakes for adversaries who dare to target our networks. Second, we must streamline and optimize the efficiency of our cyber and AI governance. The United States is committed to reducing compliance burdens, building smarter rules, and empowering industry to better innovate as part of a common sense, more actionable approach. By streamlining governance, we pursue effectiveness and efficiency, not lowered standards. Frameworks must be agile, responsive, and focus on outcomes rather than process. Industry will be at the heart of this, ensuring innovation and transparency are fostered. Efforts to over-regulate the digital economy and multilateral fora impede this effort directly. By pursuing more streamlined and effective regulations, we can move from compliance-driven security to risk-driven security and focus on viable solutions to tangible, significant threats. Additionally, this approach enables private sector organizations to expand their global footprint and enable greater connectivity and prosperity worldwide. Third, we must secure our government and critical infrastructure networks. The United States works to strengthen critical infrastructure such as the energy grid, financial and telecommunications systems, data centers, water utilities, and hospitals, on which Americans and our partners and allies depend on every day domestically. Adversaries' targeting of these networks and those of our allies and partners threaten our collective security and prosperity. Further, we prioritize bolstering our network's resilience against novel and emerging security challenges in cyberspace as an opportunity to counter such threats and reduce the likelihood of successful attacks, especially in times of crisis and conflict, where this infrastructure becomes vulnerable to the hands of our adversaries. To accomplish this goal, we view sharing threat intelligence, conducting joint exercises, and developing best practices for incident response and recovery as great and effective ways to reduce opportunities for adversaries to exploit weaker links. This will require close collaboration. To that end, efforts such as the Counter Ransomware Initiative, or CRI, and operational cooperation through CERT channels form vital tools that enable us to work together on bolstering the resilience of our government and critical infrastructure networks. Last, but certainly not least, we must maintain dominance and advantage over our adversaries in critical and emerging technologies. In pursuit of this goal, the United States will ensure cybersecurity is foundational to the way we innovate and deploy new technologies, including artificial intelligence, to deter threat actors and secure our tech stack. The pace of technological change is accelerating, and with it, the risks and opportunities in cyberspace. We must ensure cybersecurity is built into the design and deployment of new technologies from the outset, rather than as an afterthought. This requires us all to invest in research and development, support public-private partnerships, and foster a culture of innovation that prioritizes security, but not to the inhibition of innovation itself. Doing so will enable us to harness the potential of critical and emerging technologies such as AI and quantum to bolster cyberspace security and innovation. The United States views secure integration of AI, for example, into our cyber capabilities as a way to bolster our cyber defense infrastructure and optimize our government's efficiency. We also seek to leverage quantum technology and explore emerging quantum capabilities to accelerate innovation and productivity across all sectors of society. On the other hand, maintaining our dominance and advantage over adversaries in critical and emerging technologies requires us to proactively mitigate threats from misuse of these technologies. For example, adversaries' use of AI to conduct enhanced cyber attacks and censor our citizens pose a significant concern. Similarly, the rapidly approaching threat of adversaries using quantum computers to break traditional cryptography and compromise our internet security architecture places all our governments in critical infrastructure at risk. If adversaries were to gain access to the appropriate technology, millions of people's lives, prosperity, and privacy would be in peril. To that end, we are already working to counter such threats. With regard to cryptographically relevant quantum computing, for example, we strongly urge and work with our government agencies, critical infrastructure operators, industry colleagues, and foreign allies and partners to support the migration to post-quantum cryptography, or PQC. As with the other priorities I've outlined, we've seen your active support in mitigating threats from misuse of critical and emerging technologies. Working in tandem with each other on this crucial task will strengthen international cyberspace security and allow each of us to develop and deploy these technologies to secure our technological advantage. We stand at a pivotal moment, and the stakes could not be higher. Cyberspace enables human interaction, drives economic growth, and underpins global security. Leveraging cyberspace's potential and exploring further development while maintaining its security is crucial to our shared security and prosperity. Inaction will result in immediate and far-reaching consequences felt across every aspect of our lives. The United States stands ready to lead and to partner with all nations committed to these goals. If we work together and take collective action, we can preserve an open, secure, stable, and interoperable cyberspace for generations to come. Thank you.